Project Lunar for the Sega Genesis Mini is live. You can now add games to play to your Sega Mini on the stock UI, leveraging the stock emulator. This is the part I've been waiting for. Yeah, you can also add games with RetroArch and with Emulation Station, but I want to keep things, for me, in the stock UI. It's maybe a little bit hypocritical to have a purist perspective on a product that is, after all, just an emulator, but it's an officially licensed product and I want to keep it as close to official as I can. And if that's your goal, this is the tool to help you do that. It's from Mod My Classic. They have tons of documentation at modmyclassic.com, and the team behind this are basically doing this for free. So I would encourage you to donate if you haven't already, if you try this out and like it. Now, this is the 1.0 release, and you can make sure you're updated with the latest Project Lunar. I'm sure they're going to be releasing updates fast and furious over the next few weeks or month. If any of you remember Hackgy in its early days, that thing was iterating quickly. I expect the same thing here. Now, when I first installed this, I was on the hunt for a good resource for box art. But it turns out, and that's what you see on the screen now, but it turns out you actually don't need it. They have a really great scraping tool built in, just like Hackgy, but Hackgy didn't have that on day one, and this does, so that's pretty neat. And it actually will also pull box art from different regions, including the spine art. Now, of course, not every game is compatible with the built-in M2 emulator, but there is a comprehensive Google Doc online, I'll drop a link below, that lists all of the games and their compatibility here, whether they work, don't work at all, or maybe they work with some caveats. So first things first, plug your Genesis Mini into your computer. You're going to need a USB cable that can carry data, and the cable it came with does not count. That does not work. So you need a micro USB cable that will carry data. Any phone charging cable that you have around that is micro USB is going to work here. So plug that in, go to modmyclassic.com, hit the download link, and start to install the tool. You'll then want to install Project Lunar on your Sega Genesis Mini once you've installed the app on your computer. And this is what it looks like. These are, of course, your stock games. It will auto-detect which region your console is from, and you can add games from here. Now, this took me a little while to figure out, and probably had I been more patient and read the documentation, I wouldn't have had this issue. But you can't, as far as I can tell anyway, you can't add games with a zip folder like you would in Hackgy. You need the .bin ROM file. If you have the folder as a compressed folder, then you're going to need to decompress it, get the .bin, and add the .bin file directly to your Hackgy, or sorry, your Project Lunar. That was a Freudian slip. Just drag and drop it into your list. Click Get Game Information to scrape the available info. You have two scraping tools available to you. I found the best results with the default selection, the screen scraper tool. And of course, you can upload your own artwork, but I found that the built-in scraper worked every time, at least for the games I added. Now, I should note here, not every game I'm adding is going to work. I haven't tested them all yet. A few of them have worked. A few of them give me D4 errors. I can't quite tell why. I haven't added too many games yet to cause that issue. Maybe they're just bad ROMs. I'm not sure. And again, remembering this is a 1.0 and they're styling it as a beta release. So don't expect perfection here. But you know what? For 1.0, this thing is pretty slick. Hats off to the team who put this together. When you're ready with your included ROMs, click the sync button and then disconnect your Mini. And this is the boot screen you'll see initially. Now, if you're like me, you saw this and cringed a little bit. You don't want to see a third-party boot screen, but you can change that. First thing I did was I toggled the higher CPU speed to get the full clock speed the M2 folks or the Sega folks, somebody involved with making this actually underclocked the processor, but this hack thankfully lets you undo that. And when you're on this screen, hold down the start button to toggle auto boot. That will take you right into the stock menu next time you turn the system on. If you're like me, that's what you'd prefer. This is starting the system in auto boot mode, where it goes straight into the stock UI, and this is the glorious list of newly added ROMs. And even the spine art looks great. I mean, this really looks factory. And if you're looking closely, there's only one issue here if you have sort of a purist mindset. And that issue is there's actually a game listing for the system UI from Project Lunar. And I imagine they didn't have any other way to get into that menu from here. And maybe there's an option somewhere to remove this, but I was unable to find it. I really don't like seeing the Lunar boot menu listed alongside all of the games. I'm hoping in a later release they change that. One of the games I added that did work and does boot correctly is Splatterhouse 2, and I'm pretty hyped for the TurboGrafx Mini. So in preparation for that, I've added Splatterhouse 2 and 3 to the Sega Genesis, so that when Splatterhouse is available, the original, on TurboGrafx, I'm good to go. So this is a shot of a game that has been added to the Sega Genesis Mini that is being played on the stock emulator. So this is pretty exciting stuff. Again, check out the app if you want to download it. If you feel like you're not super tech savvy or want to wait until all the kinks are ironed out, maybe keep an eye on this. There's a subreddit for modding the Genesis Mini that I'll drop below, and that will be a good resource to keep tabs on updates, or you can just go directly to modmyclassic.com, read their updates there. They also have a YouTube channel, and I'm sure they're going to be coming out with newer and increasingly polished versions of this tool. But for now, for me, I say dive in. It's a little frustrating to have to trial and error these different ROMs I'm adding. They seem to be working fine when I import them, but then I can't play it. But that's okay. It's worth it to add some new games, and I'm excited to see what these guys have in store next. That's all I have for you for now, guys. Take care. We'll catch you next time.